Hey guys, it's Kimberlee and welcome back to my channel. I make videos on all things lifestyle on a budget, and today we're diving into Invisalign Consultations. I've wanted Invisalign for as long as I could remember. I had braces from 5th to 8th grade, but I just tossed away my retainer. I know I literally hate myself every day for doing that, but I did it. It happened, and my teeth have eventually started to shift. It's something that I've been thinking about for a really long time, and finally I decided to go and have some Invisalign consultations to figure out how much would this cost me. We're gonna first take a look at my teeth so you guys can see what has been bothering me. I guess I would say I have minor issues, but they are major to me. I'll zoom in so that you guys can see, but basically it's right over here. I have a tooth that's like a little bit farther back right here, and then down here I got some crowding. So the crowding is fairly new, I would say, in the last couple of years, but this tooth moving back has been moving back for a while. I didn't really notice it that much, but as I look back in photos, I realized like, oh my gosh, that was happening for a while. It's just kind of like taken over, and I really do want to fix it. So that's what my consultation was about. Not knowing that much about the science and behind the scenes and how it works with Invisalign, I figured, in general, I don't have that bad of issues, so it really shouldn't be that big of a deal. Let's get into the consultation. So I went to 3 different locations, and I'm gonna go through each one. But I am heavily side-eyeing some of these places because these prices are a little crazy. Yes, I live in New York City, so I feel like in general, everything's like slightly inflated. So that's why I was kind of like, I think I need to have multiple consultations to figure out who is maybe skimming some off the top. Anyone that's interested in Invisalign kind of wants all the info, so that's what I want to provide, and that is kind of the investigative journalism that I just did for this video. Hopped on Google and decided just to put in Invisalign consultation. Read somewhere that you could have free consultations, so I was like, even better, let's figure this out. The first place that came up, I felt like anytime I was searching Invisalign, their website pops up and they had a wealth of information, what it does, how it works, etc. And they had the free consultation. I thought, you know what, this sounds pretty legit. You guys know me, if you're on this channel, I like knowledge, information. I like having all of my options laid out in front of me. So I decided to book an appointment. I booked an appointment like within a day, which was great. The first place was located on 56th and 3rd, and when I walked in, I immediately had a little bit of a spidey sense going on because there were about 5 or 6 receptionists at the desk. Now, I know that might sound kind of random, but I was like, any dentist office that I've been to in the past, like maybe has like 2 or 3, but not 5 or 6. I was like, what is this, like Grand Central? Like, is this just like a revolving door type place? Went in, sat down, the doctor eventually came in. He took about 7 seconds looking at my teeth, and he was just like, oh, this is very straightforward. Like, you just have that tooth that you need to, pull forward. You have a little crowding on the bottom. This should be about 6 months. Like, what do you want to know? He literally just looked for like a hot second and was like, this should be very easy, very straightforward. The appointment itself was probably about 5 minutes, and I was like, that was kind of quick, but I had nothing to compare it to. Remember, I hadn't been to any consultations before this, so I didn't know what was going to happen. Then the assistant that comes in and talks money with you, so she comes in and she's like, yeah, it's actually gonna be like an 8 to 10 month process, and I was like, whoa, where do you get 8 to 10 months? Like, the doctor literally just said it was 6 months. She's like, yeah, but the way that we do is that we hold off like an 8 to 10 months to kind of just cover you, just in case. Like, it really just depends on how much you're wearing the Invisalign yourself and like what the patient does. And I was like, that's like kind of fair, but that is quite a jump. So you have this kind of like insurance that, we're gonna cover you for 8 to 10 months. And she just spun it as like, well, everything's included, even the retainers at the end, all the scans, because you're gonna have to have so many scans every time to come in, every month or so to just check before you get your new trays, etc. She quoted me at $59.50, and she said there was a down payment of $1,500. When I heard that, I was like, whoa. So I said, break it down with me. How do we get to this price? And she basically said it was based on the scans, and that's where the pricing pops up. The retainers being included at the end, that's why the price rises. And then she said your options of paying are pay it on your own like that with them, or you do this like care credit card or whatever. I think a lot of people have that for health plans or things when you have a treatment, and you can apply for this card, I guess, and you just pay it off there, but you'll have a longer amount of time, maybe like 12 months, as opposed to a monthly plan with the dentist where you would pay that amount for as long as your treatment is. So knowing that, I was like, oh, that's very interesting. The next step was going to be when you have all the photos of your teeth is when you would need to do that $1,500 down payment. So I took the information. I was a little like, that seems really high for almost $6,000 for like you know, not much going on there. Because he was so in and out, I was just like, do you guys care? Is this just a factory? That's the kind of vibe I got. Was this just a factory and we're just rushing people in and out kind of vibe? So I just left it at that. Then I also decided to look through Invisalign itself, because Invisalign will actually pair you with a dentist and you can go and get a free consultation with them. In between doing that one though, someone else that I know mentioned another dentist place that was in the area, and I decided to look on their website, and it turns out they had a discount because I'm in a certain union. I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've been looking for a discount. You guys know me, I love a discount. Knowing that they had a discount, I called them up to ask what the deal was. Does this discount go towards Invisalign? Is that possible? And they said yes, it can. The only caveat was that in order to have a consultation with them, it would cost $150. The only reason why I didn't feel like that was unheard of is because I had reached out to another dentist and they said that they do a consultation and it costs $100. Originally, I was like, I only want to do the free ones. I don't want to put any money in it because I'm just, you know, not sure, and who knows with all these prices. But I just decided, like, you know what? Let's just see what happens when you pay, you know? But I wasn't gonna go spending $150 like everywhere. The second place that I went to was located on 58 and Lex, and I was able to get an appointment literally the next day. This guy was very informative. He first asked, like, okay, what do you want to know? And again, I just feel like I've been researching it a lot, but I want to know what you think and what your opinion is, because that's why I'm here for the consultation. So when he went to look at my mouth this time, I was like, all right, let's see, it's gonna be like a 5-second thing. He actually, you know, used his little mirror and bite down, open up. He looked around at my different teeth, etc. He too was like, okay, this shouldn't be too bad, but I do see that it's probably gonna be about 8 months. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, that might seem like the thing. And I felt comfortable enough to just kind of chit chat with him and ask him, like, what is the deal? How do we figure out these pricing? What, you know, the length of time, etc. What I learned is that there are 2 tiers for Invisalign. So there's tier 1, which is under a year, and tier 2, which is over a year. So once I knew that, I was like, oh, that's how the pricing works. There's a wide range of who fits under a year and who fits over a year. Quick fixes, like what I feel like my teeth are, you're not necessarily getting the most bang for your buck, because someone else with like even more of a crowding or even more pushback could probably still get their treatment under a year and be paying the same price as me, who has like not as much of an issue. This doctor quoted me at $56.50 and then a $1,500 down payment. He said that the $650 is basically what the retainers cost at the end, and so you get like 2 sets of retainers and they should last you however many years, like 4 years or 5 years or something like that, which was interesting. Or he actually said you could probably get a metal one and that would last you forever, which is something I actually thought about, because I really this time around will not be letting go of that retainer. If and when this happens, I'm not letting go of that retainer. What was really informative with this doctor is that he got very specific and talked about the attachments and kind of like why things might take a little longer. So this tooth right here is like one of the smallest teeth, he said, and trying to get that one to budge or move might take a little bit of time. So that might be where the difficulty is. He's just like, that one, you know, it might move up and then it might like move right back. That's just kind of like how it is. Something else, when talking about the attachments, like I said, I'm a performer, I'm in the arts and commercial world. Having something on my teeth, like that is definitely going to affect my smile and maybe affect jobs. I'm not sure, but it's just kind of something like, I've seen how the attachments look, and to me they're pretty obvious. I forget which doctor said, but he's like, if you don't get the attachments, it'll just take longer, and we're not sure how much that would really like help. So I do know that this little one is definitely going to need an attachment. Do I really want this little thing on my tooth? This is the tooth is a problem, but that is definitely like right and the front of my face, and that's also my good side. The price was a little bit lower, but still kind of high. The only thing that kind of benefits me is that the 20% off would definitely take down that price a lot. Then the $150 that you have for the consultation can go towards the treatment, so that's really good. Now with them, you could do the same thing. You can have a monthly plan with them, or you can do this care credit card. Oh, he also said for tier 2, they were like $8,000. So anybody over a year is gonna be $8,000, which is just like, whoa. That same day, I was able to schedule an appointment through Invisalign with another doctor that happened to be right around the corner, and that dentist was called NY Dental. Everyone was really nice there when I got there. I decided to fill out my information, and then when I got into the doctor's office, this one was different in that the first thing they did was that she scanned my entire mouth. So the dental assistant had this long tube thing that was a camera, and we took it around like a toothbrush, and she scanned all my teeth. I have a photo because once they were done, I just snapped it real quick, and I was like, oh, that's pretty thorough. I like that. It's so interesting when people have really great vibes. He just came in and was so chill, and he was like, all right, like, here's the deal. Let's take a look at this. This is not really that big of a deal. I definitely see about like 8 months or so. Telling me about my alignment and my bite and stuff like that, in addition to the tooth and the things that he could do based on the aligners to kind of help with that. And I was like, great, 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 good to know. Whole demeanor was just so straightforward and knowledgeable, but really casual, and I really liked that. I really respected the vibes that he created in the room, and I just, again, I loved that we had a scan to look at together to be like, here's the issue, etc. And his pricing, he quoted me at $4,500. He said that you have a $500 down payment for the scans and all of that, and then it's the $4,000. And the same thing with him was that you have the retainers included as well. The difference though with him is that his office doesn't do a monthly payment plan, so you'd have to do the $500 and then the $4K up forward, unless you do that care credit card plan. $45K. I was like, oh, how did we get here? And the funny thing is that when I mentioned this on my Insta stories, several other people messaged me and said that their treatment was $45K. So I don't know where all this $5,000 stuff is coming in, and then his was down to $45K. But I walked out of there being like, man, like, I really would choose them. I'd have to figure out what to do with the care credit card. I kind of like the idea of just a monthly payment that I pay myself, not necessarily through this other card. It just messes with your credit and stuff like that. So those are the consultations that I had actual sessions with. A dentist place that I was getting work done out early this year quoted me at $6,500. And the funny thing about that, which I knew right away, where I was like, I'm definitely not getting Invisalign from you. When I was having my general consultation on my teeth, because it was my first time going to dentist in like a million years. Don't do that, by the way, go to the dentist. But I didn't have dental insurance, so it is what it is. But anyway, after having all my cleaning and all that, she was like, oh, and we'll definitely want to discuss like, you know, Invisalign or some sort of aligner treatment, because it's hard for me to get in between the teeth, you know, with the crowding. And I was like, it's hard for you to get between my teeth. That's your issue. That's how you sell getting Invisalign or, you know, fixing my teeth, because it's hard for you. Like, what? I was just like, okay. And then when she said $6,500, I was like, get out of here. Like, good night. So that was just like another experience, but that was a whole nother thing, because I felt like that place was really like in my pockets for my money, which is such a shame. But so we have $5,900 and some change or so with the $1,500 down payment, but it was $1,590 or $1,570, something like that. And the second one was $5,650 with a $1,500 down payment, and the third one was $4,500 with a $500 down payment. I know the obvious choice is probably to go with the second one, because with the discount that I have, it would bring me about down to like $4,300, and that is $200 less than the third place, ironically. So it's like, even though their flat rate was the cheapest, because of my discount, thank the Lord for that, it would bring it down to a little bit lower. So that's probably what I'm eventually going to go with, but I need to call them, because just dropping $1,500 right now is like, maybe we can wait a little bit. If you go to these multiple consultations and they're not free, you're losing that money if you don't, you know, settle onto that person. So that was my experience overall. 3 different places, 3 different locations, 3 different prices, 3 different doctor experiences. In case you're going in for an Invisalign consultation, things that they should absolutely do is look at your mouth for more than a second. That would definitely help. You can ask all the questions that you want about it, about the treatment, ask about the attachments, ask about what happens at the end, and make sure you do get those retainers. Ask about your different options, and of course, ask about payment. Let's have a conversation down below. If you've had Invisalign, let me know if you're comfortable with that, like what your pricing was and like how bad your teeth were or whatever. But I guess it's more so like if you were under a year of treatment, like how much did it cost? Especially if you're in New York. I know everywhere else it's probably going to be different prices, and maybe probably will be lower, but I'm just curious like what people got quoted as. If you haven't had Invisalign, if you have questions about the consultation, you can definitely ask me down below now that I've been to 3 different ones. I definitely think it's worth it to go through the Invisalign website of at least finding your doctor, and then maybe chit-chatting with them about any questions you may have, and they'll pair you up with someone, and then you can go for a free consultation. I would go to at least 2 maybe, but it just depends on like what's in your area. There's a wealth of dentists in the city here, so I was able to kind of hop around. That's my Invisalign video for the consultations. I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.